Our first story today, Justin Turner. Justin Turner was asked about his offseason and, you know, what went into deciding which team he wanted to go to. And the Mariners came up. Now, if you guys don't remember, Justin Turner was one of the M's big trade deadline acquisitions last year to help them out in the hitting category because, as we all know, they were an anemic offense, to say the least. And when asked, why he didn't go back to Seattle, he had some interesting things to say. Here's some direct quotes from Justin Turner when talking about the Mets. The fact that they not the Mets. Whoa, M's. Whoa, my bad. We know the Mets made the playoffs. Nice job. The fact that they missed the playoffs, the Mariners, by one game and didn't go out and add an impact bat or two when you have the best pitching staff in baseball, former Mariners infielder Justin Turner told USA Today Sports, just seems absurd to me. Oh, same. We're all confused. We're glad to know that you're here with us. Honestly, as much as I wanted to be back there, if I was the only piece they brought back in, I would be saying the same thing. What the hell are we doing? Are you trying? There's not going to be a better time to go for it. So I don't know what they're doing. I'm very confused. It's a head scratcher for me. Yes. For those of you that don't know, the Seattle Mariners of everyone who started a game, they only had 6 different guys start games last year. That's unheard of. That just doesn't happen. Just look at what's happening to the Yankees. We're going to get into that in a moment. You're one injury away from losing your best pitchers, or a couple injuries away from losing some of your depth, and they have the best rotation because they all pitched. That doesn't happen for very long, right? You only get 3 years, 2 years of this. If it's not money or free agency or that breaks up a core, it's injuries. You got to take advantage of it. So for a guy who signed for a 1 year, $6 million to be scratching his head about how do you not bring him back for 1.6? How can you not do 1.6? So it's almost as if it's not about baseball. It's almost like it's about bank accounts and the person who makes those decisions keeping more of that for whatever the hell they are doing from then. But I just thought this was a little cathartic. Shout out to Justin Turner for just telling it like it is. The guy's been around for a long time, and that's what that's what we want to see from the vets. Just come on and be like, no one knows what you're doing. I don't understand. When there was also a comment for someone on the team. When asked whether Turner was wrong, an unnamed Mariners player told the Seattle Times not one bit on Wednesday. Following the 2023 season, catcher Cal Raleigh called out team ownership and said the Mariners have not committed to winning. And now he's still there with no control over his own career for a while because he's 3 years away from free agency. So your best player, isn't very happy. If you are walking into a clubhouse every day and you don't feel like you're on the same page as the people making the decisions about the team, it could be tough to get going. It'd be tough to, your fuse will be a little shorter. So I don't know what they're doing. I'm up here in Seattle. Nobody here knows what they're doing. That's the questions I get the most from friends and family are like, dude, what are the Mariners doing? I just work here, guys. I just sit at my desk and I try to think through all the options, and sometimes it comes down to they don't want to spend the money, and that's all it is. All right, moving on. Let's get into the news. Nothing played right there. Great. Yay. Okay. Put that on the list that the audio, the sound effect just didn't play. Sweet. Let's just quick hit this because we got tons and tons of news to get in here. We got this gentleman right here. This is Jac Caglianone. And his name is spelt very, very hard to pronounce. It's Caglianone. But I just want you guys all to know there's a random N in the middle of his last name. It's Caglianone. Caglianone. It's Caglianone. Shout out to my co-host on Sunday Sliders on the radio on SiriusXM, Danny Wexelman, for clarifying that for me. Appreciate it. Jack has hit 3 pumps, homers, for those of you that aren't well-versed in the baseball thesaurus. He's hit 3 pumps. His last one was 444-foot homer. He's the number 22 prospect overall. He's a recent first rounder of the Kansas City Royals, and he right now has a 2,100 OPS in spring training. A lot of you, he went to Florida. You guys might have remember he was a two-way player. And so he's next Shohei. It doesn't seem like he's pitching, but he can throw up to 98, 99 too. So surprise. But it doesn't really matter because he's a monster, and he's a monster hitting big boy homers. He reminds me a whole lot of Corey Seager, which is a good sign. Now he's not a shortstop, but big dude, lefty stick, can hit the ball about 1 million miles, and he's looking good. Here's a quote from him. It says, honestly, the biggest thing that I've tried to work on this offseason was just shrinking the zone and staying with my approach, not chasing too much. That's a noble pursuit, in my opinion. Knowing what I can handle. I feel like I'm seeing it really well. I feel like I'm on time for swing. Swing feels great. Hoping to carry it on. Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Sounds good to me. So Jac Caglianone is turning heads, as many people thought he would in spring training, but it's even better than advertised, it seems to be. So good for Jack. Moving on. First hit, Kyle Tucker, Chicago Cub. What do you think it was? You would be correct. It is a home run. Kyle Tucker took Landon Roop way back in Thursday in the third inning of Sunday's Cactus League game, marked his first home run in the Cubs uniform. Not only that, his blasted berm center field snapped an 0 for 20 drive. Sorry. It was his first hit, but it was not his first game. He's now 1 for 21. So he went 0 for 20 to start. He finally got his homer. So this is less of a he walked out of the dugout and hit it in his first AB, because sometimes guys just don't start playing until, early March because they were dealing with something. No, he just struggled. But Kyle Tucker's Kyle Tucker. The guy is very good, and he's going to be a big deal for the Chicago Cubs. So he got his first silent treatment. Everyone just ignored him. It's all good and all fun and games when it's sunny out. We'll see what he can do for this team moving forward as the season progresses. Yelich homers for the first time since back surgery. Each day it's felt better. Now, if you guys remember, he ended his season last year after being in the running for the MVP in the NL. And he had, I believe it is written here, I believe it was a disc surgery to clean up. It was a mobility kind of thing, which is scary. The back is nothing to be callous about. It's nothing to push through. You should definitely take care of that when it pops up. And you just never know how a back injury is going to bounce back. But Christian Yelich seems to be feeling pretty good about it. His swing is getting back on track, and it's great to see, man. He's back on track to make the opening day roster. And if the Milwaukee Brewers want to repeat the division title once again, they're going to need a healthy Christian Yelich. The Braves are optimistic that Jurickson Profar will be ready for opening day. He's got a bone bruise, which those are kind of a wait and see situation, but they're feeling good about it. It's usually just a rest situation, and he was one of the solutions, I think, to a couple gaps they had, the Braves, going into the season. They're kind of counting on him to fill that gap and do it well in the corner outfield. And if they want to step forward and kind of do a little better than they did last year and get back into that competing for the division over there in the NL East, they're going to need a Jurickson Profar. So good news for the Braves moving forward. But the news keeps getting sadder for one team in particular. That is the New York Yankees. Can we have a moment of silence? Thank you. Gerrit Cole felt some discomfort in his throwing elbow during his last Cactus League start. Or sorry, not Cactus League. He's in the dumb one, the grapefruit. Felt some discomfort. He said it was very concerning to him when he was asked about it, which is very concerning to me. He went and got checked out. The recommendation the first time around here is Tommy John surgery. He could potentially lose the entire 2025 season and then into the 2026 season. That is not what you want to see if you're a Yankees fan, especially with the high hopes with Louis Heel going down. And now it's all on Rodon and Fried to kind of carry that rotation. And as we've talked about on this show, and as I've talked about on every other show, and everyone else is talking about on every other show, the Yankees are a little thin after Will Warren. And at least they didn't trade Stroman, so they got him. But it looks like Will Warren will be moving into that rotation to start the season. They do have Carlos Carrasco kind of waiting in the wings to see what's going to happen with him. But you never want to see anyone get Tommy John, especially when it's a talent like Gerrit Cole. So the NL East or the AL East was interesting. It's even more interesting now. Ooh. We got a question in the chat right here, which is interesting. I'm going to pull it up. If you are Cole, do you think about retirement? No. So here's the thing, guys. Let me just give you a little context on this. Gerrit Cole loves baseball. He's going to play. He's going to try to pitch after his contract's over. So, like, not everyone is me. Like, not everyone's just trying to pull the chute as soon as they find an exit, right? So that's one thing. Two, once you throw a certain number of innings, Tommy John is just inevitable. It just is. I saw recently a take was like, we got to get on we got to get the program right, or we got to we got to get the training staff needs to be more on top of this stuff. No, like there's just you're not supposed to throw this many pitches this hard overhand this much. Like it's just not. There's no world where you just can avoid Tommy John surgery. It just forever. You can't throw 3,000 innings and not get it. Like at this point, it's almost guaranteed. Almost. It's like 99% guaranteed that you're going to get it. So, especially if you don't have other injuries. If you're never hurt and you throw all your innings, it's just about timing when it happens. One rule of thumb is get it in the big leagues because you get paid and you get service time for that. But I think this is one of the things. Gerrit Cole was healthy for a really long time. Chris Sale, right? He had no injuries for like 8 years before he started having the troubles with the Red Sox. He threw like 2,000 innings without even going on the IL once. Like that time runs out. You can't do it forever. And I think it's just his time, and that stinks. That really stinks. But it's just the way it is. I mean, maybe his elbow told him that last year with the other injuries. I think they were just trying to avoid it. Avoid Tommy John because it's a 16-month down. So, and they did avoid it for a bit, but now it seems like it's going to happen. They are waiting for a second opinion, so let's keep that in mind. And there is a chance sometimes we see second opinion. They go, hey, you can PRP and you can come back in 4 months as opposed to 16. But like he already did this once, so the chances of that happening are low in my opinion. Good question though. Good question. But yeah, I don't think he's going to try to retire. We got a little bit of pressure happening down in Tampa. Rays owners Stu Sternberg facing pressure to sell from fellow owners and the commissioner's office, a.k.a. Bobby Manf, right? So, interestingly enough, it looks like because it's been a 17-year timeline to get a new stadium built. They had a new stadium, then the roof got ripped off at Tropicana, and now they don't know if they want to do this or not. It seems like, and this is, allegedly, allegedly, they want to push him possibly out and open the door for a new ownership group that can get the new stadium built. Now, one interesting thing is how open to pushing him out they are, but not the other guy who moved the team and by all accounts was just blowing it over and over again. And I think what it comes down to is I think Rob wanted the Oakland team to move. That's what I think. I think he was just like, I want this team to move too, so we're with you. And we don't want this team to move. We just want you to build a new stadium. So you got to remember, it's all about motives being aligned, and it looks like Stu's are not aligned with the powers that be, and John very much is. And he'll do anything they ask him to do. And so that's why John is being given new jobs and being put on the being put on the revenue commission or whatever the hell it's called. Like, that's the difference. It feels weird. It's hard to imagine someone be like, I like John Fisher. I want to talk to him a lot. But like, so Tampa's it's been a weird thing down there for a while. The attendance is always low. We know about that. The Trop is not my favorite place on the planet. It's fine and it's good atmosphere for what it is, but like, they've needed a new stadium for a long time. The St. Petersburg is just, the average age in St. Petersburg is like 62 years old. No one's going to the games. They want to get closer to the downtown Tampa and be like, actually, if you guys have never been to Tampa Bay, like St. Petersburg's like 30 minutes. Like, it's not that close. You can see it, but you got to go like around the water and go over the causeways. And it's just annoying. So they've tried to figure this out. And it's been like the number of plans they've had is in the dozens. So they had one, it was going, and now it seems like that fell apart. And that might have been the last straw. So Stu Sternberg may be on the hot seat now, and we may see another owner or another team change hands, which we've seen kind of like, Rubenstein taking over the Orioles. This is rare usually, and we're seeing it happen kind of a lot in a few years, which is interesting. It's interesting to say the least. But I hope you figure this out, Stuart. At the end of the day, you need a new stadium. You got to figure out how to run your team and do it well. And if you don't do it, you got to move on. So at least someone's getting pressured to take their contribution to the next level. At least somebody is. New York, man. Both teams are taking it in the stomach a little bit, getting hit with that injury bug, even though the Mets aren't getting hit quite as hard, and even the injuries they're having are a little bit more short-term, into April, with Frankie Montas going down, with Sean Manaea having some shoulder issues. And then the next one to fall is Francisco Alvarez. But it is just a hamate bone in the old hand. It is a bone that it's like one of those evolutionary things that you don't need anymore. It's a little hook of the hamate is what it's called. And sometimes if you hit it just right, or the bat hits it just right, it just breaks off a piece of bone, then it floats around in there, and then it just hurts. It hurts to grip. It's also in his bottom hand when he swings, which is his catching hand. So being a catcher too is something that you have to take care of. So they're going to remove it. It's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. I've seen guys come back in as little as 4. He will probably be in the 6 to 8 weeks range, but they do have Louis Torrens sitting there waiting to start every day, and there's options out there, guys available. Maybe James McCann comes back. Maybe Big Mac comes back. I know you guys want him. I know you guys want him to go be the backup until Francisco gets back. But shouldn't be too long. Nothing of big concern. Much less of a sad day than Tommy John. But again, the more guys you lose, the more nervous you get. I know. I feel it. I hear you. I know, I feel it, I hear you. Branch Terminal with a great question in the chat. He asked, do you worry about it affecting his receiving skills? No. It just, he might be tentative at the beginning because it's just a soreness thing, but like, guys get sore hand, like catchers are used to their hands being sore. Like they're used to that. So I don't think it's just an impact thing. I think he's going to be fine. Maybe a little tentative at the beginning, kind of like be softer with the hands, but I don't see it being a long-term issue at all. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Woo! Love this. On MLB Network Radio, was talking with Enrique Rojas and Ernesto Jerez. Sorry. Basically, he he publicly went on an interview and explained that he wasn't asking for Juan Soto money. Now, if you guys remember this offseason, the Blue Jays were being linked very strongly to the Juan Soto sweepstakes. By all accounts, they were up there with the Mets with the offer. They were willing to match the money. That's mid $700 million, right? The natural course of that conversation would be, and basically Vladimir Guerrero's role in it is, he is the same age. He's actually a little younger, and he's already on the team, and he is the stud of the team, who had a top 5 type MVP year last year. Now he's a first baseman. That's one issue. But people assumed he was going to ask for a ton of money. I guess the negotiations, he said, hey, we didn't even reach $600 million. And people are saying that I was asking for $750. Here's the interesting thing. I think Juan Soto probably made like $150 million too much, in my opinion. He's a $600 million player. Shohei Ohtani is a $700 million player. So there is no one who is a 760. That said, he did what you're supposed to do in the free agency, and he ran the markets. I love it. Do what you got to do. It's exactly the way it's supposed to work. So he escalated the market. But the number of people who are just scoffing now at Vladimir about his $600 million is because that other number happened. But they're not the same market forces, so they're not going to get anywhere close. And he's saying, I'm not going to do that. The interesting things he said, though, I love this. It's much less than Soto. This is a quote. We're talking about many fewer millions than Soto. More than 100 million less, so never got to 600 million. I know the business. I lowered the salary demands a bit, but I also lowered the number of years. I'm looking for 14 years. Mind you, he just turned 26 years old, okay? I would like 14, 15, or even 20 if they gave it to me, but doing it the right way. He's frustrated, and it sounds to me that he's really frustrated because when you see another person on the outside getting offered this extravagant deal, and then the team not getting them, and then every year you're hearing about all this money being offered to these huge free agents, and you're already there, and you're already the same age, and you're already on the team, and you're already the center of the team, and then you're not able to get anywhere near your number. I could see how that would be really frustrating. There's like no homegrown talent on this team either at this point. It's like him, Bo Bichette, Alejandro Kirk. That's it. Everyone else was traded for or came into free agency or was not drafted by them or signed in international free agency. So he wants to be there. He wants to be the guy. And he's just judging by his tone. He's not happy with hearing about all of these offers being given to other guys and then just no one playing ball with him. Now, he's a first baseman. They don't age well. You know, that's just the name of the game. First basemen are not going to get that much money. For a first baseman, ask for $600 million. What Freddie Freeman get, like 180? Like, it's just not, that's nowhere close. So, in reality, he's probably a mid 400 in my opinion. But still, he'd probably take $450 million. Why wouldn't you? That's $500 million. And it just sounds like he just says stuff and they're like, meh. And of course, what's he doing this spring? Hitting 412. 121 OPS, a home run, and 3 RBIs, 7 games. Just crushing it. So they didn't get a deal done. He wanted to get it done before spring training started. Didn't happen. So now here we are. We're going to see what happens at the deadline, what happens with the Blue Jays moving forward, even with Santander brought in, even with Scherzer brought in. We'll see what happens. But for me, they're still the bottom of that division. And it's sad, but it's true. All right, last piece of news. Lawrence Butler. Let's get a round of applause in the chats. Let's get some claps, everybody, all across. Lawrence Butler signs a 7-year, $65.5 million extension with the Sacramento Athletics, soon to be the Las Vegas Athletics, maybe. Now, I'm usually not a huge fan of team-friendly deals, but I will make an exception for a guy who has 1+ years in the major leagues and is able to get money like that from the A's. I've changed my tune a little bit. Sure, this isn't going to help free agency for many other guys. He is an outfielder, and he could potentially make more than what is that AAV, like just over $9 million. he could make over $9 million second year ARB easy, right? But he only sold 2 years of his free agency, so this is guaranteeing himself $9 million. He's not on a rookie deal anymore. $9 million, all the way through ARB, and then maybe a couple years in free agency. But you're kind of locked in. So it's a solid deal. It probably could have been a little bit better. He probably could have got a little bit more money or finagled a little bit more. But knowing Law, I'm really happy for him. He absolutely raked last year. He was like a top 10 hitter to end the year. To give you some context, after he returned from AAA in June 18th. Butler batted .291, .330, .565. So that's his triple slash with 20 homers and 15 stolen bases over 330 plate appearances. There was a point where him and Brent Rooker together were they were the new Bash brothers. They were the new two best hitters in the entire major leagues for about a 6-week period. So I think the A's are on the up and up, and they're going to surprise a lot of people this year. It's going to be jarring. Branch actually gave a nice little breakdown in the chat. So let's put this up, show this. Signing bonus was $3 million. And then it escalates as we go all the way up to 2030. He's making 14, 2031. He's making 16 million. So it's backloaded as they always are because those are the free agency years. So you need to be paid more. So this makes a lot of sense to me. It's just guaranteeing all of those dumb steps like the minor league, the rookie deal, and then the ARB deal, and then the first free agency deal. That's a pretty solid deal. And he'll still be young at the end of that deal. I believe he'll be 29. Boom. Nice, Law. Hell yeah, brother. Great job, Lawrence Butler. And enjoy that money. Buy yourself some ass.